A heart attack doesn't announce itself. One minute you're just making a cup of tea, the next, the world goes silent. Your breathing turns ragged, and it feels like icy fingers are squeezing your heart. You can't even cry out. You never had the chance to learn the warning signs. That's how strong men and kind grandmothers, people who never complained, never popped handfuls of pills, lived what seemed like a normal life, are taken. They didn't realize their arteries were slowly clogging, painlessly, for years right up to that morning. A legendary heart surgeon, someone who has literally looked inside tens of thousands of real hearts, once said, 90% of heart attacks could be prevented, but we don't tell people what's wrecking their arteries every single day at breakfast, at dinner, and all the snacks in between. Today we're fixing that. We'll share what only surgeons have seen firsthand and explain why the patients who listen to them often live to 100 and beyond. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. Your support lets us keep bringing you practical, uplifting content. Ready? Let's begin. Who was the surgeon who was still fixing hearts at 95 and planting flowers in his yard? Meet Dr. Ellsworth Wareham, a man who peered into thousands of beating hearts. While most folks his age could barely get out of bed, he was scrubbing in for 6-hour surgeries, steady hands, razor-sharp mind, just to give someone else a second chance. When he finally stepped away from the operating room, it wasn't because he'd slowed down. His own heart ticked like a Swiss watch. He simply wanted more time with family, to plant flowers, to do the things that sparked joy. Even then, he never stopped guiding younger surgeons. A reporter once caught him outside, shovel in hand, putting up a fence. He smiled and said, "I'd like to finish before the weekend, then I'm free to jump back into surgery if they need me." Dr. Wareham didn't just reach 100, he lived every minute. And he left us more than a longevity record, he left simple, practical rules for a long, fearless life. So, what did he discover inside people's arteries? Why do some stay healthy into old age, while others leave us far too soon? The answers lie in what Dr. Wareham saw every day in those cross-sections of clogged and clear vessels. If his story resonates with you, drop the word heart in the comments. And if you find inspiration here, hit subscribe. Your support keeps these lessons alive and spreading. What did Dr. Wareham see that other doctors missed? After thousands of surgeries and countless open chests, one pattern kept slapping him in the face. He'd look at the arteries of heavy meat eaters, then at those of lifelong plant eaters, and it was like staring at two different species. The meat crowd, fragile pipes, jam-packed with cholesterol, crusted over with calcium. Sometimes a vessel would crack under the gentlest tug. "We'd skip the bypass," he admitted, because there was nothing healthy left to sew onto. Everything crumbled like dry plaster. The plant crowd, clean, springy, strong, even in their 80s and 90s, their arteries still breathed. Dr. Wareham watched vascular disease steal limbs and lives. One day a man walked into his office, the next day that same man lost a leg, slowly poisoned by decades of fat, sugar, and salt. It wasn't a fluke. It was a pattern he saw over and over. At 50, the surgeon drew a line, no more meat. Within years, his own arteries started bouncing back, and so did his energy. But here's the question, was ditching meat the whole fix, or was there something even deeper behind his choice? Stick around, because the answer goes beyond what's on your plate. The diet that saved his arteries. Dr. Ellsworth Wareham grew up on a farm where meat, milk, and butter were daily staples. Everyone believed you couldn't get through a day without them. But after years of opening chests and seeing wrecked arteries, he reached a stark conclusion: that very food was destroying people's blood vessels. So at 50, he made a drastic switch: no meat, no dairy, no added sugar. His menu was simple: whole grain porridge, nuts, fruit, and vegetables. Breakfast was oatmeal topped with nuts and fruit, washed down with orange juice. Lunch, fresh veggies and another handful of nuts. Once a week, he'd allow a small serving of salmon. No snack bars, no pastries, no grazing between meals. Boring on paper, mind-blowing in practice. At 98, he was still driving, tending his garden, and moving with joints as loose as a teenager's. His mind stayed razor-sharp. "I feel 20, he joked. "If I have an illness, it's hiding pretty well." He wasn't the only success story. One patient with sky-high cholesterol copied his breakfast, and within 2 months, her numbers normalized. No meds, no side effects, just food. Wareham's mantra: a nut beats a pill, a salad leaf beats a bypass. Your body can heal if you stop blocking it and give it the right fuel. But diet is only half the battle. Even pristine arteries can't save you if you keep one daily habit that silently wrecks the heart, something almost everyone does each morning. Ellsworth never greeted the day with coffee or a scroll through his phone. Up at 6, he reached for 2 tall glasses of warm water and sipped them slowly. "Water is life," he'd say. "Skip it, and your arteries dry up like an empty creek bed." Then he stepped outside. Nothing extreme, just a steady walk in the fresh air, sometimes carrying pruning shears, other times a watering pail. The rule was simple: keep moving, because blood hates idle time. Back indoors, he'd loosen up with a few easy stretches, gentle forward bends, waist twists, shoulder rolls, always synced with deep breathing, always unrushed. That shake-up, he said, woke up his circulation and kicked his metabolism into gear. Breakfast came next, quiet, unhurried, free of news feeds and other stress triggers. To him, mornings should heal, not hassle. His mantra was clear: real health doesn't start at the pharmacy, it starts the moment you open your eyes. Yet even he admitted there's one daily habit that wrecks arteries faster than a plate of fatty meat, something millions of people do every single morning without realizing where it leads. The hidden threat: coffee on an empty stomach. You roll out of bed and reach for a strong black coffee before you've eaten a bite. Seems harmless, right? Heart surgeon Dr. Ellsworth Wareham and plenty of colleagues back him up. Your wake-up can hammer your arteries before the day even starts. Here's why: when you drink coffee on an empty stomach, your body sees it as stress. Cortisol, the fight-or-flight hormone, spikes. Your heart rate jumps, blood vessels tighten, and blood pressure climbs. If your arteries are already a little inflamed or weakened, that jolt could be the trigger for a heart attack. I've opened too many chests ruined by the morning routine of stress, hurry, and coffee, Wareham warned. The fix is simple: food first. Start with a small bowl of oatmeal, a few nuts, and a glass of water. Wait 30 to 40 minutes, let your body gear up, then enjoy your coffee. Once you're fueled, that cup is far less of a shock. One quick switch in your morning order can add years to your life. And even if you ditch coffee on an empty stomach, another everyday item is quietly wrecking blood vessels, especially for fans of grab-and-go breakfasts. We'll tackle that next. The silent saboteur: sugar and refined grains. They seem innocent enough: a slice of white toast, boxed cereal, a granola bar for energy. Yet these staples are the biggest culprits behind blood sugar spikes. And every spike leaves your arteries a little weaker. Dr. Wareham put it bluntly: Every spoonful of sugar is like rubbing sandpaper along the inside of an artery. At first you don't notice. Then inflammation sets in, cholesterol sticks to the rough spots, and before long you're looking at clots, strokes, heart attacks. He saw it time after time. Patients who lived on sweet breakfasts had arteries that were mushy, brittle, and inflamed even when they thought they were otherwise healthy. His prescription: swap white bread for whole grain, trade sugary cereal for oatmeal topped with fruit, grab a handful of nuts instead of a cookie. Simple moves that keep blood vessels flexible, elastic, and clear. One man in his 60s cut out sugar and white bread completely. Within 3 months, his blood pressure steadied and the headaches he'd battled for years disappeared. But even a clean diet isn't the whole answer. Without one more daily habit, coming up next, your arteries still won't get the support they need to stay strong and free-flowing. Walking, the best medicine you don't need a prescription for. Legendary heart surgeon Dr. Michael DeBakey started every morning with a brisk walk, and he credited that simple habit for keeping his heart ticking like clockwork well into his 90s. Walking isn't just light exercise, it's a free-form therapy that massages your blood vessels, boosting circulation, trains your heart without overtaxing it, protects your brain by lowering stress and blood sugar. Research shows that just 30 minutes of walking a day can cut your risk of heart disease by roughly 40%. No pills, no side effects. Take the story of one older man who was told he needed bypass surgery. Instead, he chose a nightly walk and ditched red meat. 6 months later, his arteries had improved so much that doctors canceled the surgery. Longevity experts like Dr. Ellsworth Wareham repeat the same mantra: movement is life. If you can walk, you're already healing yourself. Even 2 short sessions, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 at night, do more for your heart than a shelf full of medications. The invisible enemy: chronic stress. Stress ages your heart faster than sugar ever could. It's more than a bad mood, it's a biochemical toxin that eats away at you from the inside. Every time you're angry, worried, or stewing over a grudge, your body releases a surge of hormones that clamp down on blood vessels, spike blood pressure, and speed up arterial wear and tear. Dr. Ellsworth Wareham put it bluntly: I've seen arteries so brittle they look like glass. Food didn't do that, chronic tension did. To him, mastering your emotions was non-negotiable for lasting health. How did he keep stress in check? Daily walks and time in his garden. Slow breathing exercises first thing in the morning. Quiet reading before bed. Lights out by 10 p.m. And never waking up with a phone in hand. Another heart surgery legend, Dr. Michael DeBakey, swore by laughter as the ultimate stress antidote. He watched comedies, cracked jokes with colleagues, and kept a razor-sharp mind well past 90. His mantra: if you stop laughing, you start aging twice as fast. Bottom line: control stress before it controls your heart. A stroll, a deep breath, or a good laugh can do more for your arteries than any prescription. 7 artery-saving habits from doctors who lived past 90. Start the day with water. 2 glasses of warm water right after you wake up. Flip the on switch for your whole system. Fill your plate with plants, whole grains, veggies, fruit, and nuts. Skip the sugar and extra grease. No coffee on an empty stomach. Eat first, sip coffee 30 to 40 minutes later. Your stomach lining and your heart will thank you. Cut the salt, sugar, and red meat. The simpler the meal, the longer the heartbeat. Move every day: a stroll, a few stretches, yard work, taking the stairs, anything that keeps blood flowing freely. Lights out before 11 p.m. The late night hours are prime time for heart repair. Keep calm, deep breathing, quiet moments, kind thoughts, a good laugh. Your arteries prefer peace to pills. No gimmicks, no crash diets, just a lifestyle anyone can follow. Your birth year doesn't matter nearly as much as what you do each day. But don't wait. Your heart won't. Ready to take the first step? Type "I'm in" the comments if you'll try even one of these habits, and hit subscribe if you believe real health starts with simple choices. Together we're building a community that cares. Remember, hearts don't shout out warnings. They just stop. You still have mornings ahead, water to drink, steps to take, food that heals, and quiet that restores your arteries. The choice is yours, right now. Heart attacks aren't lightning bolts, they're the sum of years of habits. As Wareham, DeBakey, Boria, and other long-lived surgeons proved, life lengthens when we stop fighting the body and start fueling it. Water before coffee, oatmeal before sugar, walking instead of sitting, sleep instead of doom scrolling. It's simple, but it takes resolve. And that resolve saves lives. If this message resonated, support our Human Body channel, subscribe, share, or just drop a comment. Even a single word. 0, if it missed the mark, helps us improve. Your stories matter. We read every line. Thanks for being part of this warm, supportive space.